Are we up? Are we going?
Are we up? We're out. We're here. Hey,
Oh my goodness.
everybody. And by everybody, I mean thank you for joining me, Phil.
Hey, absolutely. There's no place I'd rather be.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Phil, Magic Phil Mosnes,
Hello.
independent filmmaker, storyboard artist, character designer, all cinematographer, all around creative jack of all trades.
Stay-at-home dad.
And I'm just that writer guy. And Phil and I have worked together at various studios and apart at various studios, Disney, Warner Brothers,
That's true.
and the like. But now we're here working for you. And we thank you for joining us for the
100%.
Everything is Mid Alien Earth after show chat.
And I don't know how long a chat like this is going to be for this particular episode. Not heavy on plot, I guess, but I will say though there were some things about it that I did enjoy.
It was a little more intriguing in some ways.
Yes, I think
it's still dumb. If I could go so far as to be as bold as to use a word like that.
Yeah, perhaps. But I do like to give credit where it's due, and I do like to, like I mentioned in the last round, I do like to try to give some positive feedback on things rather than just being negative Nelly or whatever they would call somebody who just always rants.
So you prefer more of a boring approach to things? No. I agree. I say give credit where credit's due, and even dumb things often have stuff in them that you go, oh, that was nicely done, or oh, this is an interesting idea. So that there's certainly some of that to go around.
Yeah, and for this particular episode, I think if I had seen this one first. I shouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, maybe.
Here's the problem. I think a third of it was dumb and 2/3 I actually kind of enjoyed. Mostly from tone and atmosphere, not from so much plotting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say the first third I didn't really care for very much. And then when and I guess we should just say spoilers all around for episode 3.
Good call. I need to make a spoilers graphic that I can put on to the screen.
Spoilers! If you don't want to hear spoilers, head to this timestamp, and it's just like 0.00. Like there's no timestamp.
Yes.
So spoilers, why? One thing I'm kind of glad is that I kind of was happy to get away from that whole scenario that the first 2 episodes have mostly spent the majority of their time in, which was a crashed not Nostromo on a planet.
If I may, Phil, the not Stromo.
Not Stromo. You said, believe it or not, actually, you're not going to believe this. I thought of that about 3:00 this afternoon, and I thought I'm going to file that away, and then I forgot.
And then you thought, I couldn't possibly use such a hackneyed gag, and then
I'll leave that one to Brian because that sounds like something he would say, and I'll.
I'm sorry. So yes, the not Stromo.
I didn't. I mean, once we got away from that, it felt like a different show. Like the tone shifted pretty dramatically to me. Much more like some of those early scenes in episode 1, where we were mostly around these synths or whatever hybrids or whatever
hybrids,
they were.
Yeah,
the hybrids. Our Lost Boys characters.
Mm-hmm.
There were some scenes in the first episode where we spent some time getting to know a little bit about them and their situation, which I kind of enjoyed almost as if it was another show. And in this one, after we get away from the not Stromo, we're back in a new, tonally, I think we shifted gears and it kind of smoothed out a little bit. And part of what I liked about that was because I thought that the action stuff in the first third was so clunky that it just didn't flow for me. Like it didn't work.
Agreed. And I would venture to say that I felt the same way mostly about the action in this one.
Yeah. No, the action that, and I didn't do many notes on this. In fact, I couldn't even find my pen, so I used a pencil.
Couldn't bring yourself to make note of anything. It was.
What is the alien's motivation?
Yeah, 100%. So Tonight on the after show chat, we will be discussing the alien's motivation. That's definitely a big bullet point. What else what do you got here?
Door gag didn't work. Whole sequence doesn't work. It was the action sequence with our two leads, I guess. The brother sister in in the back of a 50-foot big rig. They like
the shipping
trailer, the shipping container trailer that you can find in most industrial areas on planet Earth today.
I'm glad to see that does not change about our planet. I like to know that in the future
that there's something familiar enough.
There's something familiar, like shipping containers.
That sequence didn't make any. Okay, am I remembering correctly? There was just random meat hanging in there for some reason. And was that meat on the way to, like, we're not on the Nostromo at that point, or are we? We're outside the Nostromo, and there was just some shipping containers that were maybe coming to that building to maybe feed that party that happened the night before.
Maybe
they had ordered raw meat.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know.
I guess the idea is, well, they need food. Somebody needs food. They'd be shipping containers full of food to feed some people or something.
And that might be true, but it just felt so awkward that, to add to, I guess, the nature of the disturbing quality of the scenario, that we're also going to just have meat hanging. I was waiting to find one of those dead mafia guys from Goodfellas hanging in there too.
Yeah, they're gonna push past and you do the jump scare with the faces right there on top of you.
Somebody from the Lufthansa heist that Robert De Niro was getting rid of to cover his tracks might be hanging in there all frozen over with. The meat thing. So that didn't do anything for me. The whole sequence made no sense. Okay, so it's been a week, I guess, since we watched the last one, so there's been time to forget all about it. But I guess the last thing we saw was the brother was taken. Is that
yes?
Okay.
And
then she's going to go find him.
Yeah, and that in and of itself was completely befuddling, because here the alien up until that point had just been a murder machine, and then
all of a sudden
in the egg den, where you would think the alien would be the most murder machine-y, because it would be protecting its
eggs.
That's the one time it didn't try to slaughter everybody in the room, and it just grabs the brother and runs off with him.
Right. For no apparent, again, the alien's motivation is.
Well, they mentioned in it. I don't know how, it was a dumb moment. I don't know how that the brother, who is the doctor, I have no idea how he would know this, but when he was attacked by the alien the first time, he did refer to her as she when he was on his communication.
Okay.
And which made me think perhaps the alien, she has a crush on him. And when she saw the opportunity, she grabbed him and ran off. They were going to elope, I think, is what the alien was thinking.
She must have a thing for. Now, see, as a dominant female, she probably gravitates towards the kind of weaker guys.
He's definitely got some beta vibes going.
Even though he did at one point claim that he was a soldier, and that his little sister, who can lift, I don't know, 50 tons, we have no idea,
right,
could get behind him. He doesn't scream soldier, and in fact, I never thought he was. I just always thought medic, and I thought, well, medic, not like an army medic, but just a medic that's sent in, much like when you call an ambulance, which
the paramedics arrive.
Yes. By the way,
is that usually because there's two of them? There's a pair.
There's a paramedics, or they parachute in pairs. That's
a
pair of paramedics. They're not medics. They're like meta. By the way, are there metamedics that are kind of like, they dance around.
I thought maybe they were sort of outside of the realm of
medics.
So medics, the metamedics.
A pair of paramedics walk into a bar, and
so in this case, after the alien has been a murder machine, then it chooses to not be a murder machine and take the brother. That was all last episode. Now here we are in episode 3. The alien continues to behave in ways that are very alien to the logical human mind.
which you'd think on one hand that you could lean into that, and a character would say, well, I don't know what the hell this thing's doing. It's so chaotic and all over the place. It's hard for me to get a grasp on how to handle an alien like this, because it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. But we very quickly, there was a few scenes early on, I don't remember what they were, but I feel like the episode for me is murky until the moment that we're back with the brother sister. The sister finds him in the shipping container, and then we get a sequence that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. He's kind of like this. He's somewhat.
He's good up to the wall.
He's good up to the wall. She goes in to save him, and what's at the other end? Okay, they're setting up this kind of scenario where like we're trapped. We're at this. I mean, I can get you out of the goo, but this thing's at the other end of the.
There's only one way out, and and the other thing is, as she's finding him in the container, he's yelling, "No, don't! It's a trap!" Now, okay, I don't know why he would know it's a trap. It's not like he listened to the two aliens talking to each other.
Right, like that they're whispering, like, hey, all right, here's the plan. We're gonna goo them up so that we can a trap for what, by the way? Again, that makes no sense. They are trapped at that point. There's no place for them to go. The aliens got them trapped. And then it says, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. That's exactly what they're expecting.
Yeah, it's at the doorway. You go like, oh, now it's gonna come in here and just,
there's gonna be.
I don't know why it okay, let's just say it was trying to get them away from the eggs. So it grabbed the one guy to try to lure her out. Okay, let's say that's the plan. I don't really think that the alien thinks in those things.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
But so then he's in the thing. He's yelling, don't, it's a trap. Then she comes in and he stops talking about it being a trap. Right. And he's just like, oh, hey, you're here now. The alien is now at the door. There's no way out except through alien.
Yes.
So you would think that would be the trap. But then what does it do, Phil?
Well, it sort of backs off and then hops up on the roof for no good reason.
Why does it hop on the roof, Phil? And it runs across the roof. You can hear that it runs. And
company makes itself very obvious. It's not even being sneaky about it. It's not being sly and doing one of these like, I'm going to be very. No, it lets it know. It lets our protagonists know exactly where it is in the roof so that she can pull out a thing, and we can get. I guess they had to check a box that we needed to have some acid spill at some point in this episode, and this is the place to put it. She uses her katana like sword thing.
Yes. Okay, but pause.
Yes.
That katana, do you recall where she got it?
She made it somehow.
It is the blade on what appeared to be one of those paper cutters.
Oh, is that
like a large paper cutter? Yeah. And she just grabbed it and yanked it off, and now it's a cool looking katana.
Sure.
That then magically, just magnetically hooks to her back, which I guess is telling us, these synths, they just have a magnet spot on their back. I mean, maybe that's how they hold backpacks and other things too. I don't know.
I don't recall. And
I don't know what this paper cutter is supposed to cut normally.
No,
but it is strong enough for her to jam through a shipping container, which that would be hard to get a blade through, wouldn't it, Phil?
I've never tried it myself.
Structural expert here. What do you tell me?
The tensile strength on a shipping container is about 700 pounds per square. No, I have no idea. But I would think a paper cutter, which I have a paper cutter around here somewhere, and they're not even. They don't even look like. Well, anyway, that I don't mind that she made something out of a paper cutter. Okay. I didn't remember that part. I just remember thinking it was silly that the character who had been, again, a child before getting a synth body, all of a sudden, there was nothing about that child that made me think, oh, she's going to want to make her own weapons at some point. We didn't get to know her before then. Maybe she is, but we don't know that.
Yeah, maybe she's like one of them survivalists, before she got the whatever she got.
Right. There was one of those. There's some pamphlets and magazines scattered around her bedroom that should have given it away, like this hunting magazines and how to make your own ammo.
Yeah.
So she makes that thing. I remember her like grabbing it before she went on this mission and thinking, well, that just doesn't feel like this character at all. Like there's nothing about her that makes me think she's wanting to jump into action like that as with a weapon.
Yeah.
Wanting to save her brother. Okay, fine. You can make that argument. But like, she's just going to start like, bro. And then this is, I saw Kill Bill Volume 1, and this is a Hanzo paper cutter.
Right.
And anyway, she's able to cut through the top of a shipping container into an alien. And again, I don't know how tough they are, but I would think fairly
One might imagine.
reasonably tough. Into it, letting it bleed out its acid, which starts to spill, and then nobody acts like they would if there were acids. I mean, just all of a sudden, everybody just becomes an idiot. Like,
well, she stabbed her paper cutter katana into the alien where the acid was emitting from, presumably. Yet her blade is completely.
She should have pulled out like a dissolving blade and then gotten rid of it, because we never see it again. So that would have been a nice way to just like, okay,
dispose of it. Yeah.
Now that's done, because I don't know where it is anyway. It's gone anyway. So why not have that be, let that be a visual. And then the brother doesn't act like the acid's all. It kind of gets him, but sort of does it. And then he takes the time to take off that thing without getting out from underneath. I mean, you've got dripping acid. I don't know why nobody's acting like there's dripping acid coming. I guess it's CGI and nobody really.
Yeah. And he I thought, the way he's going under it and around it, like it's going to be dripping on him.
Right.
It appeared as though he took off his vest, and threw it on the ground to cover the acid so nobody would accidentally step on it.
Oh, well, that doesn't make any sense either.
Well, I don't know that that's what he did. At the time, that's what I was thinking he was doing. Talking to you, I'm thinking, did he get some on his vest? So he was like, let me get this off.
I thought that maybe
would
what
make
happened.
more sense.
But it also seems like, why would you stop to do that? Like you
could run and just throw that stuff off.
Yes. Get the scene moving.
But fortunately, so then they do get out of the container, and so things must get. They couldn't get any stupider than they were in the container, right?
You'd think. You'd think that, like, well, that's as dumb as it's going to get, and then they're going to do something that makes a little more sense. And again, I'm watching this, and there's a gap in my memory on this, because the next thing I know, and I might have been futzing around with the camera trying to get it to work, so maybe I looked away. There's a lot of tug of war and grabbing a tail, and I don't know what's going on.
Well, first of all, he comes out, and then I presumably he comes out, and he's out alone for a bit.
Oh, like
she's like, and because I remember thinking like, is it going to be behind him or whatever? And then it shows up and it stabs him through the body
with his tail.
Yeah, with its tail, and tosses him aside. And I thought, yeah, what, are you doing this now? Like, well, what are you getting into what's going on now? And then it does the scramble over, get on top of him again, like it did in the previous episode.
Yes,
we get that,
and very slowly dripping on him before she.
And then having his inner mouth kind of coming out, like, I'm teasing you. What am I doing here?
Yeah, what am I doing here? And then she comes from out of nowhere, because I guess she had gone over to have her union smoke break, I guess, during this. And then it was like, now back to work. And then she sideswipes it before it can.
Yeah, he had some sort of hook that he was carrying as a weapon. And she grabbed that, and she hooks the throat of that inner mouth.
Yes.
So she's got the alien by the little mouth, and she's shaking it around, and there's some struggle.
Yes.
At which point I thought, well, why wouldn't the alien? Why is he pulling away? Why doesn't he just scramble right on top of her with his claws? And even though his mouth is jacked, he could try to press it onto her and bite her.
You'd think, but again, these aliens, we don't get them.
And then I'm thinking, why is he not using his tail? And as I thought that, it did try to use its tail, but to no avail with the tail.
No. Well, and then I think there's some more back and forth, and then the sequence gets even stranger to me when all of a sudden they're behind a door that's closing.
Yeah. So then the plan is, I've got the alien. I'm gonna throw him in there, and you're gonna close the door at the right time.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Did they actually verbalize this to some degree?
She says something. They don't. Not to the extent of laying out the whole plan, but she maybe says like, "Get the door" or something.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So at least they have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
But the door malfunctions. They both end up on the other side.
Well, it's going down, and then just before, then the alien yanks her in too, and the door closes.
Oh, okay. So it was about to work. but the tail comes back and Indiana Jones hats her way.
Yes, she is the hat.
Much like a fedora. She pulled the fedora move, and
yes. Human fedora.
I don't like calling the alien she for some reason. I don't buy that he knows that.
No, he doesn't know that. It doesn't make any sense.
Did it whisper something to
sweet nothings? Maybe that's when that comes. It was just whispering to him,
saying, "Listen, I'm all woman, and you're gonna be my man." And,
yeah, I think that might have been what was going on there.
Well, so the door goes down, and then all of a sudden the button doesn't work anymore, and this just feels like the old car that doesn't start in every horror movie. This is a trope that is not even a fun trope because it's just a stupid trope. Like, well, they didn't establish that like this thing's on the blink because of everything else that's going down.
Well, it's just a big red button. So I was wondering, is that like the emergency close button and you can never emergency open? I mean, it just...
if it had been the history eraser button, we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
But fortunately, her brother,
the medic,
is not just a medic.
No, they gave him some basic electrical training at paramedical school.
Maybe that's standard issue at the paramedical school in the future.
It's one of those things. It's one of those required courses that most of them hate doing, like taking accounting when you want to get an MBA.
Right.
But so he's able to very quickly. Now, as far as we know, she's dying in there.
Yes.
She's being torn to shreds by this.
Well, we do see a dent pop out of the door, so we know that there's some sort of big battle going on in there.
Major battleage, and he can keep his self together to rewire the one red button. I'm not an electrician, okay? I've dabbled.
Sure.
I don't know what it seems like. That's just a switch that's going to do. It's going to open it, and I would think it's sort of like a garage door. You hit it once, it opens. You hit it again, it closes.
It couldn't be more complicated than that. It couldn't be.
It can be. But he opens it up. He yanks off. He does a quick wire strip with his.
He's got skills.
He's got skills, and he manages to just reconnect. Because I guess that was the problem. Is the inside there? I guess the wires had disconnected, and now so he's reconnecting. I don't know. It's just dumb. It's dumb, and it sort of works a little before it works a lot. And again, it's just trying to build some tension that just wasn't happening for me. Like, okay, well, whatever. Because when we finally opened the door, did you ever see Serenity, the Firefly movie?
Yes, big fan of Firefly.
I'm
sure you
are.
are.
Firefly was
agree, right?
Sure.
The movie was troubled. It had some really good things in it, and it had some things that were just not great.
For sure.
Including what this is what you're about to say.
Well, I mean, at some point you've got a character against, and spoilers for Serenity too, by the way.
Yeah, the spoiler cast.
There was a character, also a female character, that didn't look particularly strong if you were to see her in real life. But something's up with her, and we find out what one of those things is. She's been weaponized somehow, and when she's triggered, somehow she's able to do amazing things. But a lot of that happens after some doors close, something happens, and the doors reopen, and we see this victorious character on a pile of alien bodies in that one.
Right. And you're like, oh, so we kind of missed the whole, like, we didn't have a budget to shoot the battle.
Now, in that regard, we do see a little bit of, I think there, if I remember Serenity, we do see a little bit of her starting to kick some ass or whatever.
I think like as the doors close.
As the doors are closing. And then when the doors finally open, we see the aftermath. And that never bothered me as a storytelling method. It was giving, I didn't necessarily need to see everything in between because it probably wasn't going to be that interesting. It's like, okay, fine. But this is similar. The doors open, and what we see is this big surprise where our lead has decapitated an alien that, by the way, hasn't been scary this whole show, so now it's even less so.
Right. And it's now gone. Just any girl with a paper cutter blade
An acid resistant.
I can decapitate an alien.
Is that what she used to decapitate? We assume
that's what she used. It was her blade.
I just didn't like this at all. It
the blade still wasn't even like hooked into the thing where you get the leverage of pushing down on it, because it's got the hinge at the other end of the paper thing.
The satisfying ka-chunk.
Yeah. She had to provide that with the arm ka-chunk. So it was not great. And then she gets the white drip, synthetic blood drip down her face.
Yes.
And she collapses.
Dramatic. Okay. So we're over that sequence, and I'm glad that part ended because that was my least favorite part of the episode. Mm-hmm. And then we're on to some other stuff.
Oh wait, just one quick thing. Yeah. How wide do you suppose that alien tail is?
I would have given it at least 10 feet. I would maybe an Indiana. Oh, wide like the girth.
Yeah, like the round, because it stabs him
at its base
through his body. So it wasn't just at the tip of the of the barb. It got into the tail. I mean, that's got to be baseball sized.
For sure. It would certainly not make you be able to do electrical work with any proficiency.
So just that on its own, I thought. I mean, as soon as they put that through, I thought, well, okay, he's a goner.
He's a goner.
It's like it's like the lightsabers in Disney Star Wars. There's now Disney alien tail. They just put you in the back to tank. You're fine.
Somehow they cauterize the wound as they come out, so you're good for a while if you can just get to the nearest tank.
You know why they call it the back to tank?
It gets you back to where you were.
Yeah, it's because that's where they put you back together. It's
well, it worked.
This just happened right here. But comedy, this is how it happens. It's just
you're welcome.
Go ahead.
I have to admit, I looked away when he got stabbed.
Okay.
Now, I do recall, though, in another movie you may have heard of called Aliens, that a character named Bishop was stabbed with a tail of an alien, and it didn't. He was an android, though, so if his systems didn't go completely, I mean, he also got ripped in half, but he did get stabbed first,
right?
And he wasn't much use in the scene after that.
Yeah.
I think there was he might have grabbed a girl to keep her from falling into an airlock, but he's not crawling his way over to a thing. I mean, but he could have, because he's an android.
Yeah.
As far as we know, this brother is just a guy.
He's just and that seems to bear out from what we see through the rest of the episode. He's just a human being.
Just a human. He's just a man. Just an innocent man.
Mere man.
And so he got stabbed, and I didn't, it tells you there's a problem with the show, is that if I look away, try to get my webcam working, for instance, for even a second and miss a stabbing, and I look back and I don't even know it happened, and it doesn't seem to have much bearing, there's a problem. It's a problem. But people's reactions in this show have always been really wonky. People seldom seem to behave like you'd think a human being would in the scenario that they're in.
Yeah. It's a problem.
It's a problem. But having said that, once we're out of I was happy to be away from the Nostromo. And then I started thinking that tonally it shifted. It had a little more breathing room. It wasn't, I mean, maybe it's just coming off of the series of bad action gags that were at least kind of coming back down to something that I can maybe relate to with some character. I don't know that it was necessarily good, but I did enjoy the tonal shift.
Yeah. Here's another problem with this stuff, is that those eggs, the alien eggs, those are in the ship, or are they in the building?
They're in the ship, theoretically. They would still be in the ship at that point.
And so then when they hopped out, are they in the ship or are they in the building? I feel like they hopped out of the ship at that point. But here's my point, is that the geography is not clear at all.
We have no idea.
I'm complaining about this with the Jurassic Park movie. But with the spaceship and everything, like, are we in the ship? Are we in the building? Are we outside? Like, you just don't really have any sense of where things are.
No, and that's the kind of thing that you were saying last week that would have been great to have established through these military guys who would have been very clear about what their goals were and where they're going, and like, here's the situation here in the deep brief.
Yeah, I like to get the brief.
2-man cruise. This is where the Nostromo is. You have access points here, here, and here. We're going to take these floors, and then you guys on the blue team, you're going to be going through the building to evacuate people, because this is still theoretically a very dangerous situation. And if there's a party still happening, let's say, where everybody's dressed up, 18th century France,
for example, just
if there's one of those powdered wig parties happening, the powdered wig parties that
they're all the rage here in the future, the alien future,
in whatever future we're currently in. Get these people out. I mean, that feels like a kind of a Dread. Do you remember Dread, the movie?
Oh yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, fantastic.
We always knew what was going on.
Yeah,
we kind of knew the layout. We knew the floors. This one we never knew.
Futury concrete building stuff.
Sure, but you knew what the goals were. You knew point A to point B. What's in play. I never really knew what was in play here, because I never knew anybody's motivation, and we're just kind of they did finally, the not Yaphet Kotto character finally did offer up something to what his motivations have been, although I still am not very clear as to that. They still don't work for me.
Yeah,
they're not satisfying.
No, but we did learn he is a cyborg.
Yes,
we confirmed he's a cyborg, and we confirmed that Kirsch, Timothy Oliphant character, we confirmed that he is a synth.
He's a synth. Well, then what are the new what are the new kids?
And then the new people are the hybrids.
They're the hybrids. I don't know what any of that, again, in a show that made a point of that early on, of giving us those three things and all the corporations that are in play right now. A lot of that has not been made particularly clear as to, so what does that mean that he's a synth and versus a hybrid versus a cyborg? And what would a typical Ash be in this, or Bishop? Are they are they androids and that's a separate thing?
I assumed that synthetics and androids were the same thing.
So Kush is sort of a Bishop / Ash.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean,
and when does a machine stop being a machine?
Riddle me this. Something about parents. I don't remember.
Yeah. But that the fact that the ship's captain, the not Yaphet, Yafnat,
Yafnat. Kudos to Yafnat.
That he brings up this question of is that the question? When is a machine not a machine?
When is a machine not a machine?
Or when does it stop being a machine or something?
I don't know, but later when he rephrased the question, he used different terminology, which made
did he really?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't.
But it does. It's an indication that the show does want to explore this. I wish they hadn't waited until episode 3. I mean, at the point when you're transferring a child into a body, the questions are, well, what do you mean are you transferring my soul? Like, you'd have to have a conversation about soul. Is this my consciousness? Is it just a copy of what I am that's being,
They were too busy showing footage from Peter Pan to get into all of that.
Is it still me? Yeah, no, that was the problem. And they it's funny because they talked about it here, how how the show is relying so much on the whole Peter Pan thing. One of the characters
they really leaned into it again.
Yeah,
it's like, well, Lost Boys, but half of us are girls, and Peter Pan, like, wow. And then I don't know, some characters watching yet another animated thing on. Are we closing in on me?
That was me watching that scene. It was just like,
I see. Yeah, no. So another character is watching some other animated thing that I didn't recognize, but it was probably another Fox property.
I couldn't figure it out either. But
I know it wasn't Shrek, but it sure looked Shrekish for a moment. But it's something I haven't seen before that they. And once again, I think a character actually thought of a scene from it. I think it was possibly our not Lambert character.
Oh, the ginger.
The ginger who, speaking of not having souls. No, I'm kidding. I keyed. I think she had a flash sideways to some animated show where a character was asking a similar question, and all I could think is that moment last week. If you had told me years ago when watching Ice Age, let's say, if you had said, "Psst, hey, buddy, what do you want to bet that someday Ice Age has an interesting crossover with the Alien franchise?" I'd be like, what? Is like some kind of joke? No.
No, this is
Played
for
straight
realsies.
as horror, drama, or whatever. There's going to be scenes from Ice Age, and you're not going to believe it then. It's just like you're not believing it now. 1990s Phil. Seeing scenes, and I saw somebody posted some kind of meme where some character is like looking in the mirror, and that picture that whatever that character is from Ice Age that keeps popping up with
the Sid
character, and it's that shot, and somebody's basically saying, yeah, this actually has happened. This is a real thing. This is a real thing in the alien world where somebody is looking at Sid from Ice Age.
Yeah.
And it's not played in the, I mean, look, you could say there are Warner Brothers cartoons playing in The Shining because the kid's watching the TV. Okay.
Right.
It seems organic in that sense. Nothing about this feels organic because you just,
in the show's defense, I don't think there's much about the show that feels organic. So it's really kind of, right on.
It's par for the course for Alien Earth.
Another thing, so like when addressing sort of this kid angle of, because the reason they're watching Ice Age is always because they're these children in these adult bodies.
Yes.
So then we get just another terrible scene of the two kid character Lost Boys who run into not Yaphnot.
Yeah, Yaphnot.
He runs, and so they have a tense scene because we're trying to figure out, well, is he going to kill them or not? But they are acting like children, and he even points out, "Oh, you guys are acting like children." Oh.
Yeah,
but as that was going on, I was thinking, God, of all the things to see, like, I don't want to see, well, how would kids react if they were in the Alien movie? Like, that's not what I want to see. I don't want to see 12-year-olds goofing around and
next to alien eggs.
Yeah, next to alien eggs, laughing about the fact that they're using language. Oh, you use the F word. Oh, you use the S word. Oh, the T.
Yeah.
It's just like, now, to the show's credit, they finally put a pin in why children are the only ones who can be used in this hybrid experiment of moving the conscious note.
Something about infinite imagination.
They have like endless imagination. But even now, as I'm saying it out loud, I go, okay, well, this explains why they're doing it in universe, but in the Watchverse where we are, it's just
our universe.
The our universe. It's just like, oh, this doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And something like that might have made more. Look, there's some lip service could have been played early on with some of the story points that we bumped so heavily against, which is sending essentially children into a disaster zone to potentially retrieve alien specimens, and these are prototypes worth a lot. Like he could just send in his own army. And
they've got to be. Yeah, I mean, how many millions or billions of dollars are these prototypes worth? And this is like the first successful experiment of this,
right?
And they sent them in. They made it clear this time. They did send them in as search and rescue, and then once they realized what was on the ship in this episode, they say, "Oh, okay, you're not search and rescue anymore. You're just getting the alien specimens.
You're getting the specimens."
But both of those scenarios wholly inappropriate for 12-year-olds.
For 12-year-olds that are going to
have no training. They have these strong bodies or whatever, but they have not been trained.
And by the way, do they all have strong bodies? We don't know.
I mean, even Wendy, when she was running to go after her brother, she's like running through that big like parking lot or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, it's not really clear that she's running super fast. Like we've seen her run super fast before. So is that what she's doing here? You know, there's none of that bionic sound effect. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get again, consistency and setups, payoffs, kind of random. Everything's sort of random. Motivations are random. Explanations are random. But I guess I just mostly enjoyed getting back to this other place where it feels a little more comfortable because there aren't quite so many strobe lights going off and not nearly as many sparks in the back, which that was getting a little old. But
yeah, and even where the eggs are, there's the chain hanging down with the hook. It's sort of glistening. I'm like, oh, this is like right out of Alien,
right?
And like, I guess this is the same kind of room that was. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So for the second half of this episode, we're in a different place, and I started to wonder if the whole series had been more like that, if I'd be liking it more. Like if
and to your point, in last time you mentioned that we shouldn't have seen anything on the ship, and I feel like that's become more apparent as far as like why it crashed. It should have just been, here comes the crash, and we should have just been introduced to the captain, who's the not Yofat, Yohat, well, that guy.
Kodo.
Yes. No Kodo.
And so if we had just avoided the first 15 minutes of the first episode,
and just sort of let it unfold.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever play that scenario when you're watching a movie or a series? Like, what if the show had started here? Like, what if we didn't know anything about it until this point, and this is the first scene? It's just like them hauling in alien eggs from a crash site. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's how it would have played very well, but you start to wonder, did even the scenes that I like, could they have just been pulled out and not missed a beat? Did we learn anything from the FOP party?
I think it was meant to be like commentary on capitalism or something, because he answers the door and he's like, oh, and he uses the word feast, that they're having their feast or whatever their feast or something. And then when the alien comes in, they're all around the table and they have become the feast, right?
Okay.
I mean, kind of thing. But as far as what,
no,
like whatever, like that's what you're going for.
Enter the ironic clap. And again, I actually kind of enjoyed the idea that there was this weird party going on, but it's in and out so fast that you feel like, okay, if we had skipped that part, wouldn't have missed much. Alien killed him anyway. Okay, you made your big point. Congratulations. It's a point that does the rest of the show support that, or does it mean anything?
I don't think so. I
don't think so. We've got a lot of corporate espionage and people getting caught up in it. Kind of maybe that's more of the theme, is like we're just pawns in these giant corporations game. That I can believe that as a theme more than, by the way, there's some rich people out there who don't really care what's going on, and they're going to they get slaughtered because they're in their own bubble. They're living in their own bubble.
Right.
But once we got back to the main thing, we do get some more interesting back and forth, I guess. Are we supposed to be? Is his name Kush? What's his name?
Kirsch. Kirsch saves the Lost Boys from Yodo.
He does, and so for a while he is sort of the father figure, but then he's also, by the end of this episode, he's like, oh well, yeah, but he still works for this a-hole that's the Peter Pan guy, and he's in charge of pulling a embryo out of the face hugger and dropping it into the severed lung of the brother.
I do want to give Timothy Oliphant props. He does. I mean, he's always great. I mean,
he usually carries the scene.
Thing. Yeah, and the one I really want to give props to, even though I find his character often annoying, is Samuel Blenken. Samuel Blenken is Boy Cavalier. I think he does an excellent job with the material he has.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we're supposed to have the reaction that I think we're having with him, that he's doing a fine job of bringing characterization to that type of person. And he's kind of, I can sort of believe it. I almost wonder if they could have gone strangely younger with that. Do you remember a little show called Galactic in 1980?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Doogie Howser.
Similar.
I do remember Galactica. I can't
1980.
remember how to say it, but
it wasn't a great show, but it did have this. It had this kind of doctor character that was Robbie Rist in one version, and then a different actor in another. I don't know if it changed from pilot to series, and they switched out actors. But he's supposed to be this kind of boy genius with the glasses, and it's a futuristic thing. So he's Dr. So-and-so, and he's played by a teenager, and it's just interesting enough to be like that. I almost wonder if they would have been able to pull off something like that for this show, if they had considered it to go skew even younger, so that it felt almost like a weird kid sending other kid adults into a scenario, because he's a genius on one level, but he's like he lacks wisdom on another. It's a different show at that point, or it's a different character. So
maybe
maybe.
it, or I mean, would that change the script at all?
No, but it might have made his choices and his tantrums and his motivations might have seemed a little more like, oh, okay, well, keep in mind he's a kid too.
Right.
He's a trillionaire apparently, so he's a savant on one level with the engineering part or the science part or the Steve Jobs part in him, but on another level he doesn't relate to people, or he doesn't quite understand why anybody would care about their brother so much that they'd go in for, I don't know. It's a different show at that point. So I'm just throwing out scenarios that might have been more interesting to me. But the actor's fine.
Yeah, and just a point of order. In last episode, we didn't know where this took place in the universe. Apparently, it's a prequel to the first Alien.
So this would explain then why Weyland-Yutani is aware of what the aliens are theoretically when they send the actual Nostromo.
That would seem to be what's going on. But how well this all makes an effort to become a foundation versus just doing its own thing, I guess we'll see.
I was thinking about something else too, and it's part of why one of the reasons why I think that the alien's not scary in this, and the alien's actually been taken out of the scenario, at least temporarily. We're being set up that there's going to be more in this facility theoretically in the next few episodes. But those aliens probably aren't going to be scary either. And it makes me wonder if a bolder choice would be to have an alien thing where it's a different kind of alien, like a different kind of existential terror that's alien, and it's still sci-fi, but it's not just the xenomorph again repackaged. We've gone to that well so many times that I'm afraid that is just not, it doesn't move the needle anymore.
Yeah, although I feel like the other movies, they did explore other aspects of it when it was the black goo and when it was, other creaturey things. And I don't know that's
it didn't work
great either.
Yeah, maybe not, but at least it was different. I just think that every time we come back to this, it reminds me of when a franchise can't change direction very far anymore because they've established a pattern so much. Do you recall? So Halloween, the original Halloween, Michael Myers, that was supposed to be not an anthology per se, but I don't exactly know how you would describe it. There was supposed to be another Halloween movie every year that would be a different kind of aspect to Halloween. So
that was the original idea.
The original idea was that the Deborah Hill and John, you know who I'm talking about.
Carpenter.
That's the one. John Carpenter. They would do, so this first one was going to be Mike Myers, a boogeyman, right? They'd do another Halloween. It would be a different kind of Halloween scenario. And they actually kind of attempted it in Halloween 3, a movie that
Season of the Witch.
I've actually kind of grown to enjoying its weirdness over the years, even though it's not a great movie by any stretch. But it did attempt to do kind of what they were talking about. But the problem was Mike Myers became bigger than Halloween.
Yeah.
So then they have to just do a bunch of...
Which is why they had to do Halloween 2 with Mike Myers, and then...
Sure. Yes. So once you've done the sequel that was back to the Mike Myers well, then they tried to do Halloween 3. It didn't work. All right, back to Michael Myers again, because they seem to like that. And then it's just Mike Myers until he's not scary anymore.
No, and then eventually it's Mike Myers on SNL. And just not scary at all, just funny.
Funny. Yeah. Who knew that he had such range as a boogeyman, and like he dances pretty well and he does funny characters.
Yeah.
So I feel like the alien thing has kind of fallen into that, which is they cannot not do a xenomorph.
Yeah.
So anything that's alien at this point, it's
well, and then they came up with their other alien critters, and I'm just not really sold on any of those.
No, because they're treating them. It's like, again, like these. We know those eggs are dangerous because we've seen the movies. But what's that big thing with the tentacles that nobody seemed to think was like? They weren't afraid of that, and like nobody's treating that like it's a big deal. But that looks just as...
And how did they get it off of the... maybe there was one still in a box already, but I don't believe that they went and said, "Oh, let's get this off the wall and shove it in a box." Okay, it's great.
Did they have a big glass thing that they just put over it, and they had a
piece of paper over the top, and then
maybe they dip some cotton balls in chloroform and then like let it fall asleep on them. And they glossed right over that thing. By the time we get back to our base, the critters are all contained and in their tubes. But like there could have been a whole other movie in there where guys are going into like, so what, we're supposed to get these eggs? Like I'm barely in a hazmat suit, and in some cases, when they are doing their little experimentation in the lab, we've got one of the kid adults with a video camera who's like just standing there. One of those things could jump right on her. We don't like.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, they suck it up if it tries to do it." And I thought, no, not if she's holding the camera. We're having trouble. Better get the camera to get over that button suction.
It's funny how you just the show decides when something's supposed to be tension filled and when it's not.
Yeah.
If that had happened in Aliens, where they walked into a room with an egg and somebody's like, but turn on the camera. We should film this. We should get some video of this. Yeah. We're looking around. They're all dead. Whoever's in the camera guy's the first to go.
Right.
And they would probably be more cautious about it. Like, don't get too close, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But nobody acts like it's a threat. And guess what? It's not. They're not. Nothing's threatening. We just, all right.
And they do this crosscut. Like, I don't understand why Wendy has some sort of psychic connection to the aliens.
No.
Maybe, I don't want to speculate, because the speculation is really just me writing headcanon. I'm writing scenes that they didn't come up with.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't really feel like they've we'll see.
Yeah.
If they can come up with something to make that make sense. But it doesn't make any sense to me that she goes wandering into the lab. She has to go through 2 doors. She apparently has the hand clearance to open up the super lab.
Yes.
And then those doors are opening and closing.
Nobody hears it, by the way.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
They're silently picking through an alien thing, and she's silently filming it, and they don't hear the door and go up. And then Wendy comes in and she's like, like choking or whatever. They don't hear that.
No.
And she collapses onto the ground. Apparently they don't
hear that either.
They don't hear that either. It's like, I just hated all of that. I just hated it.
All I can think is that these kind of shows end up sparking more ideas on parodies of these kind of shows than they do, unfortunately, better versions of these shows. I don't know what I would come up with. If somebody dropped the Alien franchise in my lap, I'd be like, what? I have no idea. Where do we go from here? I don't have any ideas.
Kids in synth bodies. That would be my pitch.
Which was that?
Kids in synth bodies. That would be my pitch.
Because it does scream for that on some level too. so I don't know that I would have any better ideas than what they came up with, but as we're going along, it's just easier to just come up with funnier ideas on like what would be a good parody for this kind of thing.
Yeah. And so the brother, they're doing surgery on him.
Yeah.
They remove his lung.
Yes.
And then but they're keeping it running, and they put it in the glass tube.
Yes.
That they then extract the little alien sperm zygote or something from the face hugger.
Right.
Presumably that's what the face hugger is putting into your body.
I will say that's something I've never seen before in all of these. I've never known what got dropped in. Now they've now created this thing, so now we know it's not a mystery anymore. So on one level, it was kind of interesting to see. Okay, so that's what they envisioned for this. But it deflates a little bit of the mystery of what actually is going on there. Because like the more you know, the less scary it is in some ways.
Then they drop it in there with the lung, and we see it go up.
Goes right into the lung.
I guess it's what they do. They go, those things. That's why they're in there. They go in and they.
Yeah. So now I know that if I ever get face hugged, it's going for my lungs.
But is it really? Because I guess it does. It comes out of the chest. It's not like further down, so it would be lung adjacent.
I never knew. I didn't think of it that much because I also never really thought about the rib cage scenario and how it's working its way to burst out to be the chest burster. Are you doing the "you wouldn't like me when I'm angry"?
Yes.
So there it is. I don't know. This isn't my least favorite episode, I would say. Strangely, I think I might have enjoyed it more than, let's say, the second or about.
I think that second one, there was just so much logistically just dumb about it that it just was, this was less so.
Right.
But here's ending on a high note for it. I give it credit going back to the actor who's playing Boy Cavalier, that we had what I thought was an interesting scene between him and one of the other Lost Boys. Do you know what's her name is?
I would have not anymore.
But she is jealous that Wendy is his favorite.
Yes,
she comes in and she talks about ideas and things that go, oh, this is supposedly why he wanted to do this, was because I guess
the imagination, the infinite imagination that the children have, that the adults
combined with whatever hardware that he gave them to boost their intellectual capacity, which up until now has been kind of fuzzy. I mean, they talk about, giving them this training and but it's just like a throwaway line, and they go, I don't see any of that, so I don't know what's going on here. They're actually talking about it. She's talking about having learned French in a week, and and you can see you saw a character who wanted something, and they were behaving in ways that were in line with that. And it was
congruent.
It was congruent. And so finally there was something that I felt like, oh, here's a little bit of characterization I can actually grab onto. And the way he played off of her in the scene, I thought was great. And I loved the final line when she's saying, oh, so am I your favorite now? And he says, no, but you're in the running, or now you're in the race, or something like that. And it was just like, okay, this was a nice little piece of
I would concur. Because they're setting up tension within our Lost Boy
within our ranks,
which they could continue to do that, and then the show just becomes getting voted off the island today. Are we going to call in and decide who gets to stay on the show? And there's at least some tension building there. And I don't want to speculate because I'll most likely be wrong, but we're probably going to spend at least a couple more episodes in our facility, contained within this facility, and with alien somethings.
It's kind of strange how many scenes we've had with the eggs and no face huggers have come out. And they even tease us with the scene when Kirsch is saving the guys from the ship's captain.
Yes.
And he's saying like, oh, and the egg starts to actually open up by him.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and then I guess the egg just closes again. Something we've never
Sure.
really seen happen. Just like, oh, I was just yawning.
Yeah. We thought there was something going. Yeah. We have not been given that. And now
and
we
the alien. I'm sorry.
sidestepped it. Yeah.
The alien itself in the lab, the remains.
Yes.
When you talk about how they've making it less and less scary, the fact that they bring it in on a tray and it's like all this acid, I go, okay, I guess it's just an acid proof tray. We've only ever seen the alien acid be 100%
Indestructible.
a problem, and here it's just like, it's just on a tray, and then they just kind of roll that tray into the corner of the room. All of these other things are in hermetically sealed cases and in refrigerators, and he's just kind of off on the side there, and I go, it just feels like not smart labbing.
No, you'd think that he would be in one big case for him, because everything else is, and yeah, he might be dead, but do we know enough about this alien to, like, what if it's got spores that are just coming out and turning?
We're seeing all that sort of green mist coming off of that can't be good to breathe.
No, you'd think that they would have at least put it in some kind of body bag. Like, okay, in the future they have very, very crazy cool body bags that can prevent acid from getting out. Something, a glass case. The kind of things that people put their action figures in when they want them to.
They didn't even shoot it with the spray net bag that.
What's his face had one, and that was something. No, they don't have those at Prodigy. That's Yutani technology. That's Weyland-Yutani technology.
And the other thing, talking about characters, is that we did get a little bit more from the ship's captain.
Yeah.
The no. I'd say you're gonna have to come.
With
a name for
Nafet Kodo.
Yeah, Nafet Kodo. So where we did get to more about him is we started this whole conversation with you talking about that, and we now find that these specimens are his life, so they're like his life's mission. But we also know that because he's a cyborg, there is some humanity in him, because he talks about making the worst choices as a man, combined with the power of this machinery or whatever. So we're starting to see that he actually has a soul that's struggling in his stuff.
Yeah, and he may be a character that has a more solid arc than most, if he ends up coming around. And
he was showing some remorse for what he did to the crew.
Sure, yeah.
So maybe you may be right. Maybe we'll get more out of him than.
Well, they didn't drop him. I mean, they've kept him around for a reason. He has a part to play, and he's able to speak directly to
Yutani.
Yes. Well, not just her, but to the kid, one of the synths hybrids.
He planted something on them at the.
Yeah, I assumed it was a communication thing.
And I'm just remembering that now, because at the time I was watching, I'm like, what? So he could just do this? But no, he did plant something on the guy. And
planted something on the guy. So there's going to be some more of that going on.
And did you notice, Phil, that after he got off the phone and he convinced the guy to be his friend, that he's calling from some sort of like bondage club or something?
I used to go to that club. It was in Hollywood. I never got up on the web thing the way those people were.
Right. So the web thing, because he walks by and the web is all being out of chains.
The on the nose webs.
Yes, it's like, so he is the spider getting this kid into his web.
Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you. As symbolism goes for this show, that was kind of subtle.
It wasn't quite as ham-fisted as some of the other things that have gone on.
I kind of go for that level, but I don't know.
It seems like it's funny to me that in the future that there's still even clubs like that look like early 2000s Gothic clubs.
Well, maybe it's like a curiosity piece for the synthetics that have been studying Earth history.
That's much like in Back to the Future 2. It's a cafe 80s that this is somehow like, idiots in the 2000s used to go to goth clubs that look just like this. And
it's like any episode of Star Trek or Star Trek: The Next Generation, where they're in the future, but they're all very hyper focused on the 20th century and our authors, and just
they amazingly know everything there is to know about. It would have been funny to pitch to Star Trek. It's like, Yeah, they go to a planet where they know everything about the Amish. But like nobody in the 23rd century knows what the Amish. Yeah, it sounds like you guys know more about it than we do. You don't know about that. That's all we've been studying for eons is the Amish. You don't know anything.
Very fascinating subculture.
Yeah. And nobody cares, and it doesn't go anywhere.
All right, I'm going to let you wind us out here, Phil. So any final thoughts that you want to give us before we shut it down?
How many episodes is this show?
8.
And how many have we watched so far?
We've done the 3 and we got 5 to go.
Almost halfway, I guess. If we can get across the halfway point, maybe we can plow through. I'm not look, I wouldn't be watching the show, frankly, if we weren't doing commentary on it.
I was thinking about that with this episode. I was going like, I just, I'm watching it for this. And, if you're somebody who's tuning into us, then your name must be Phil or Brian. But if you're looking for someone who is a huge fan of this, and that's why you want to get to, that's not really what we got going.
I don't think we're going to no, it's going to be a lot of this. Well, everything is mid. We're not reading War and Peace. It's not a book club on famous literature. What did Shakespeare really say in this scene? But I'm enjoying the banter, I would say.
Indeed.
So, even if it's just the two of us.
Even if it's just the two of us, it's worth it for that.
And next week it might just be the one of us.
It'll be a monologue. Yeah, the sad thing is the episode will be just as long with just one of us just monologuing.
Monologuing.
All right. On that note,
we will see you next week, my friend.
Until next week, take care, and we'll see you there. And out.